Rangers Football Club find themselves at yet another crossroads after what can only be described as a turbulent start to the season. Russell Martin has officially been shown the door, and his brief spell in charge will go down in the history books for all the wrong reasons. Just 17 matches into his tenure, with only 5 victories to his name, the Ibrox board decided they had seen enough. The final straw came after a disappointing 1-1 draw against Falkirk that left the club languishing in 8th place in the Scottish Premiership table. A far cry from the standards expected at one of the most storied clubs in Europe. Martin's dismissal, although shocking in terms of how quickly it came, hardly surprised the fans who have been voicing their discontent for weeks. From the terraces to social media, calls for change have grown louder with every underwhelming performance. And now, just months after signing a 3-year deal, the former Southampton boss exits through the same revolving door that's been spinning far too frequently since the departure of Steven Gerrard back in 2021. For permanent managers in just over 3 years, it's a pattern that speaks volumes about the instability at the heart of the club. Behind the scenes, the pressure had been mounting. The failure to beat Falkirk came right on the heels of a tough European night against Sturm Graz, a defeat that has put Rangers' Europa League hopes in serious jeopardy. Add to that the dreadful league form, and you get a picture of a squad lacking direction, confidence, and cohesion. Martin, to his credit, never shied away from responsibility. He remained adamant that he had the belief and capability to turn things around. But football is a results game, and belief alone isn't enough when the team is struggling both domestically and in Europe, especially after a summer where over £40 million were invested into building a squad expected to challenge on all fronts. His post-match comments following the Falkirk draw were telling. He spoke about his determination to succeed and the challenge of leading a club where patience is a rare commodity. "I believe I can," he repeated, almost like a mantra. But those words, no matter how sincere, couldn't mask the results on the pitch. The atmosphere had become toxic. Supporters had made their frustrations clear with chants echoing through the stands week after week. Martin's time was up, and so too was that of his backroom staff, with assistant Matt Gill and coach Mike Williamson also shown the exit. Now, the focus turns to what comes next, and it hasn't taken long for the rumor mill to start spinning. A number of high-profile names are already being linked with the Ibrox hot seat, but one stands out for both his pedigree and availability: former Netherlands international Mark van Bommel. The Dutchman is reportedly interested in the role, and his track record certainly gives the Rangers board something to think about. Having led Royal Antwerp to a stunning domestic double, including their first league title since 1957, Van Bommel has demonstrated he can deliver silverware and do so while building a strong, competitive side. His success in Belgium wasn't a one-off either. Van Bommel picked up the Belgian Cup and Super Cup and was even named Belgium's Professional Manager of the Year. That kind of recognition does not come lightly. He started his coaching career at PSV Eindhoven, spent time in the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg, and then reinvented himself in Antwerp, a trajectory that shows growth, adaptability, and an ability to bounce back. For a club like Rangers, looking to reclaim domestic dominance and re-establish themselves in Europe, Van Bommel presents a compelling option. Interestingly, this isn't the first time Rangers have considered Van Bommel. Reports suggest that the club had looked at him during the summer before ultimately deciding to go with Martin. That prior contact might now play in his favor, especially as the board is keen to move quickly. The club has crucial fixtures coming up: a league clash against Dundee United, decisive European games against Brunn and Roma, and, perhaps most importantly, a League Cup semi-final showdown with Celtic. Whoever steps in next will have no time to settle. They'll need to get results from day one. But while Van Bommel is a strong candidate, he is by no means the only one under consideration. The board is expected to explore a wide range of options, and the list of potential replacements continues to grow. The key for Rangers is not just appointing a manager with the right CV, but someone with the character and authority to bring unity back to a fractured club. The expectations are sky high, as always, and supporters will accept nothing less than a manager who can compete with Celtic and restore Rangers' pride on the European stage. Adding another layer to the story, former Rangers striker Chris Boyd has weighed in with his own take on who should replace Martin. In his view, the next appointment needs to be someone with a strong personality, capable of lifting the club both on and off the pitch. He mentioned 3 names: Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, and Sean Dyche. Gerrard's name is one that never seems far from the conversation at Ibrox, given what he achieved during his previous spell. Lampard, currently enjoying success at Coventry City, is another intriguing option, although it's unclear if he would leave his current project. Then there's Dyche, a manager known for building gritty, organized teams, and someone who has worked closely with key figures at the club in the past. Boyd's assessment highlights just how big a decision this is for Rangers. The next manager will not just inherit a squad low on confidence and sitting mid-table. They will inherit the pressure of a fan base desperate for progress, of a club chasing stability after years of chaos, and of a board that cannot afford to get it wrong again. One more misstep, and the consequences could be severe, not just for this season, but for the future direction of the entire club. While Rangers are still licking their wounds from yet another managerial gamble gone wrong, the urgency to get things right this time is more intense than ever. The shadow of Celtic's domestic dominance continues to loom large, and with European ambitions hanging by a thread, the room for error is now non-existent. This isn't just about bringing in a new manager. This is about resetting the culture of the football club, rebuilding trust with supporters, and finally putting an end to a cycle of mediocrity that's stretched on for far too long. The chaos of recent years has made stability feel like a luxury. Since Steven Gerrard walked out the door in 2021, Rangers have failed to establish any sort of long-term vision. Managers have come and gone, each one bringing in their own staff, their own playing style, and their own list of transfer targets. What's been missing is continuity, a clear football identity, a plan that stretches beyond the next 3 fixtures. That's what the new appointment has to fix. Not just the points gap on the table, but the deeper structural issues that have left the club spinning its wheels. Whoever is handed the keys to Ibrox next will have to deal with a dressing room that has seen massive turnover in recent windows. Players brought in under Giovanni van Bronckhorst, Michael Beale, and now Russell Martin have created a bloated squad with no real chemistry. Some players are still adapting to Scottish football. Others look like they're carrying the weight of a dozen false dawns. And the truth is, for all the money spent, more than £40 million in the last summer alone, there's little evidence to suggest that Rangers have a squad capable of competing for major honors right now. This is where leadership comes into play. A top manager doesn't just set up tactics and formations. He builds belief, sets standards, and reestablishes what it means to wear the Rangers badge. The board cannot afford to chase names purely for their reputation. They need someone who understands the unique pressure of managing in Glasgow. Someone who gets what it means to walk out at Ibrox, with the fans demanding nothing less than victory. Someone who can take a fractured group and turn it into a team with fight, resilience, and hunger. That's why Mark van Bommel remains such a fascinating prospect. He's experienced pressure at the highest levels, both as a player and as a manager. He's shown he can build a title-winning team from scratch, deal with expectations, and come out the other side with silverware to show for it. More importantly, his coaching style fits the modern game, organized at the back, but dynamic in attack. For Rangers, who've looked completely disjointed in both boxes this season, that balance is exactly what's needed. But the board needs to act fast. The longer this managerial search drags on, the more uncertainty grows. Already, the players look like they're going through the motions. The atmosphere around the club is flat. Upcoming fixtures offer no respite. Dundee United will smell blood, and the clashes against Brun and Roma could define whether Rangers are still playing European football come the new year. Then there's the small matter of a League Cup semi-final against Celtic. That match isn't just a derby, it's a potential tipping point. Win it, and the mood changes. Lose it, and the season could spiral beyond saving. The challenge for the Ibrox hierarchy is finding someone who ticks all the boxes: tactical intelligence, authority in the dressing room, and the ability to unite the fan base. Fans are not just asking for trophies, they're asking for a team they can believe in again. And after years of short-term thinking, that belief can only be restored with a long-term project. That's why rushing into another appointment without proper due diligence could be catastrophic. Every option on the table must be thoroughly vetted, not just for what they've done in the past, but for what they can bring to Rangers now and in the years ahead. Beyond Van Bommel, names like Sean Dyche, Steven Gerrard, and Frank Lampard continue to swirl around the rumor mill. Each comes with their own strengths and baggage. Dyche is a master at organizing teams and squeezing results out of limited resources. But would his pragmatic style fit the expectations at Ibrox? Gerrard is a romantic pick for many, given his history with the club, but his post-Rangers career has raised legitimate concerns about his adaptability. Lampard, meanwhile, has had a mixed run in management, flashes of promise followed by inconsistency, and though he's currently doing well at Coventry, would he really leave that behind to step back into the pressure cooker of Glasgow? It's a tough call, and that's what makes this moment so critical. Because more than ever, Rangers need to find the right fit, not just the most glamorous name on a shortlist. This has to be about substance over style. The right manager will understand that the job is not just to close the gap to Celtic, but to transform Rangers into a club that can stand toe-to-toe with the best in Europe once again. That's no small task. But then again, this is no ordinary football club. Meanwhile, the fans are watching closely. Season after season, they've stood by the team, hoping that each new manager, each new signing, might finally bring the consistency and success they crave. But patience is wearing thin. Another misstep, another failed project, and the disconnect between the stands and the pitch could become irreparable. The pressure is not just on the new manager, it's on the boardroom too. They need to prove they can lead this club back to where it belongs. In many ways, this moment feels like a turning point. The decisions made in the next few weeks could shape the destiny of Rangers not just for the remainder of the season, but for years to come. Will they take a risk on a bold new direction? Or will they lean on familiar names in the hope of a quick fix? One thing is certain, they can no longer afford to get it wrong. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a storm brewing in Govan, and whispers around Ibrox suggest it's about to break wide open. Clinton NIALA, once tipped as one of Rangers' most promising attacking talents, appears to have fallen completely out of favor with manager Russell Martin. What began as quiet frustration behind the scenes has now escalated into what insiders describe as an unsustainable situation. The 24-year-old forward, who joined amid much fanfare 2 seasons ago, hasn't featured in Martin's matchday squads for weeks, and sources close to the player say he's now preparing for an immediate exit from the club. According to those familiar with the dressing room mood, communication between NIALA and Martin has virtually broken down. One figure within the club suggested the manager barely acknowledges him during training sessions, a stance that's left teammates puzzled. It's like he's invisible, one source whispered. Clinton's still turning up, still putting the work in, but the gaffer's just not interested. Speculation is mounting that the rift may have deeper roots. Some point to disagreements over tactical roles. Others hint at clashes in attitude or discipline. Whatever the cause, the outcome looks increasingly inevitable. NIALA could be gone before the next transfer window even opens. Agents and intermediaries are said to be circling, sensing an opportunity to snap up a player who, despite his recent struggles, still has plenty of admirers across the continent. For supporters, the situation feels both confusing and frustrating. NIALA's flair and directness made him a fan favorite, the kind of player who could turn a match on its head in a heartbeat. To see him frozen out so abruptly has left many questioning Martin's man management approach. The club, for its part, has remained tight-lipped. No official comment, no clarification, just the sound of growing discontent rumbling through Glasgow's blue half. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.